I offering my most prayerful salutations at the divine lotus feet of my beloved Lord Bhagawan. It is with great pleasure and privilege that I am here this night, this evening for you, and it's about 10:45 p.m. for us. Great privilege and pleasure. I want to thank Greg, Brother Jiva, Bala, and Karthik for taking time to do this audio video test and invite me personally. It's always a pleasure and one of the greatest privileges that I hold so dear to my heart to be able to share my inspiration, the lessons that I learned with this divine master who walked this earth. And therefore, it is with all humility and a very, very little sense of pride that I was with him. I touched his feet. I listened to his voice. I felt the hem of his robe. And every time when we go through this period of the year, it's a very difficult period, I think, for many of us. And I can speak for myself especially, that even though in my heart and in my everyday experience, I feel his spirit all around me, guiding me, even the minutest things in life, there still seems to be a little something missing, that beauty of the physical form, the graceful walk, if you will, the smile, twinkle in his eye, the divine wave of his hands as he would orchestrate the entire rhythms of the universe, set everything right. We miss that. I miss that. Even though I never been to Puttaparthi after I left, I had videos to watch. I had some connections. I still can watch, but there is always the sense of that physical beauty and the presence is something we will never see again. Maybe another form, another avatar, another time, but not the Satya Sai avatar. So there is always a sense of deep separation. And that I don't think will go away for our generation, for those of us who have seen him, for those of us who have experienced him, who have been with him, who have heard him speak directly, felt his presence. So I don't think that will go away. And we don't have to turn our face away from that. You have to face it and live with it. And that's part of that journey with the divine. So I promise Maya, I will not get emotional today. And I'll try my best not to be. But to keep focus on what Swami's message was for me, for us as students, us as devotees, for everyone. What I share is what I perceived in this divine avatar. And I always say this is the disclaimer. This is just a one blind man, a one short-sighted man getting a glimpse of this divine principle and sharing his perspectives. So always take it with a pinch of salt, if you will. This is not the Sai. This is the Sai that revealed himself to me. This was the Swami I saw. This was the Swami allowed me to see. And therefore, it is with that reverence and prayer that I offer my perspectives. Otherwise, there is no way that any of us can ever understand the complete totality of the Sai incarnation. There is absolutely no way. Swami wrote this in the letter himself in many years ago to Professor Kasturi. If all mankind got together and did austerities and penance for thousands of years, they would still not understand the depth of this divine principle. And when he referred to himself, he referred to himself as a cosmic self, because he turns around and tells us you are also that very same cosmic divine principle, that unfathomable, inscrutable Shiva, the omniscient, the omnipotent, the omnipresent Shiva. In every aspect of his life, Swami was a role model of what he spoke. As a very young man, young boy rather, um, just past 17, about to be 18, I joined Swami's college. Not as a devotee, but just as any youngster. Basically, primarily because there was no other place I could get my education in. This was the only place available, and I liked the place. I liked the village. It was far away from my parents, far away from my home. So I wanted to just get away from everyone. Because in my generation, those days, residential schools and you didn't have to leave your home to go to college, generally speaking. But one thing led to the other. My father got transferred to a distant, remote village. There were no colleges there, and therefore I had to move away from my parents, and I was happy to do that. And then Swami's doors opened, Puttaparthi opened. One thing led to the other. I find myself in Swami's college. For almost 1.5 years, I was yearning for that Swami, my Swami there, or my Guru there. Because I saw people touching his feet, worshipping him, praying, and I was saying, where is my Guru in all this? Why is it not clicking with me? When will it click? When will he click for me? Because I became a fan, if you will, not a devotee, but a fan of Sai, because I saw him so easily approachable. Because you sit and he walks towards you, he took letters from you. You were able to speak to him, and we were only 60 of us, 50 or 60 students in the first batch. We were the first batch of Puttaparthi college students. So very few of us, Swami would call us very often inside to speak as groups. But there wasn't that one-on-one yet established. I had to wait 1.5 years for that. And 1.5 years later, it happened when the hostel was inaugurated, and there was this event where I had to do yoga on the ropes, and I was jumping through hoops of fire and all of that. And at the end of that, Swami and I, the bond was established, the physical bond was established. The next day morning after that, December 25th was when this happened. And December 26th, he comes in the morning and he says, where is that fire boy? And then I get up and run towards him and kneel down. And he asks me my name. What is your name? I say, Sunder Iyer. Oh, Sunder. That was my first close encounter, if you will. I can never forget those moments. Because I never looked back. Never. If I'd only known, in hindsight, of course, right? It's 2020. If I'd ever known that this was what it was, I would have treasured every moment, but it was not meant to be. But nevertheless, every moment only got better than the previous one. As I continued to stay there for a little over 15 years. And oh my God, what a glorious 15 years of my life that was, from the age of 17 till 34. At 32, he got me married to Maya. He was kind enough to perform the wedding in his room. He did everything, right from asking me my name when I was 17, and then till he performed my wedding when I was 32. I spent 2 more years after that. He took care of me completely, like any father would, any mother would, any guru would. That was a very precious, is still a very precious relationship. And in those 15 years, I saw divinity in action. What would it have been with Jesus and the 12 apostles? I dare say I can perhaps relate to some of that, and many of students like me. But I can speak for myself for sure at this moment. What would it have been for Yogananda, Paramahamsa Yogananda, with his guru Sri Yukteswar and his guru's few chosen disciples? What would it have meant to be there with intense spiritual training? with constant feedback right then and there, guiding you spiritually. I can perhaps relate to that a little bit. It was not the same, definitely, but then this was something akin to that. Staying with a divine master such as Sathya Sai. I'm not here to convince you about Sai Baba's divinity. I think that is not my job. That is not anyone's job. Because like I said, I've not even understood a fraction of what he is. So who am I to tell you who he is? I cannot. But I'm here to share with you some of the wonderful lessons that I learned when I stayed there. So what was it that convinced a 17-year-old, an 18-year-old from Bombay, as it was called then, Mumbai, as it is called now. Mumbai is like New York City. Mumbai, where I grew up in a traditional religious background, and I grew up to be a rebellious teenager, and I didn't want anything to do with religion. And here I am in Sai Baba's college. What made that young boy change 180 degrees, if you will, into deep spirituality, deep yoga practice, to the extent that this boy was able to completely go deep within and understand the secrets of yoga, and yoga became alive and is still very much alive. So after December 25th, 26th, when he asked me my name, there was still, again, a silence of another 3-4 months, I would think. I think it was somewhere in April. And if I remember right, it was April 4th or 5th of 1981, where he's walking for darshan. He looks at me and he does that finger, which everyone hoped he would do, like this, calling for the interview, like this. And I froze. My knees were shaking. Was he really looking at me like this? And then he took me in. But before that, there were a lot of little building blocks of faith that I yearned for, and he proved to me little bits and pieces. For example, he would be giving darshan in the sands, and we would be sitting in the mandir, in the portico, in the veranda, as it is called. I would be looking at him completely. He's lost with his devotees, right? He's picking up letters and he's waving hands. He's in bliss, watching these souls. That was something I never understood. It was like a trigger switch. He changed when he goes into devotees. It becomes something completely different. And so he's in that world, and I'm thinking, if you are truly divine, if you know what is going on in everyone's mind, do you even know I'm here? This was that young Sundar sitting there and asking, I want that faith. I want everybody has this great miracles and experiences. What about me? I don't have anything to fall back on. Because my dear friends, sisters and brothers, to me, divinity is very straightforward and clear. It has to be in black and white. It has to be street smart. I need to have a direct connection. I need to have a hotline. I need to have a direct proof. I need to have that. I'm not saying it out of arrogance, but I'm saying it out of just sheer honesty. That is how my approach has been always. And it was with Swami. I said, give me that faith. Let me know, not what others have told me. Somebody else's faith cannot become my faith. I can borrow a little bit for some time. But then when push comes to shove, when real testing time comes, like this right now, where we are today, as a society, as a community, where we have a shared common experience called the Corona Asura, this demon who is coming in subtly through the breath. We need to rely on this deepest part of ourselves, which has to be rock solid, which will provide us support. And so I needed that. I didn't have that till then. Until then, I was raised by my parents, of course, and in their faith, their gods, and all of that. But where was mine? So I'm sitting in this darshan looking at him, saying, where is my God? And Swami, if you are truly divine, do you even know that I exist right here? At that very moment, he turned, looked at me, and he called me. And once again, my knees were shaking then. This was not the interview call. This was another one. I'm coming to the interview in a bit. But then he calls me, and then when I go to him, he just hands over a bunch of envelopes that was apparently his hands were filled, so he didn't have anyone to give to, so he gives it to me. So these are days when there were no Save Others following him and all that. So he just gave it to me and turned and walked back into his darshan. And I was just left spellbound, like, wow, what was that? It was just to indicate to me, you wanted to know, I can think of you right there, I know. The very second it happened. So there were these little leelas, if you will, of Swami, who proved to me beyond doubt that he knew. He wanted to show me, I know it. Swami tells us often, I still come to the interview, but Swami tells us often that you want an experience, I give you the experience. And then it's up to you to build faith based on that experience. But if you say, oh, that's just could be coincidence, I don't know, could be just some kind of, I want another one. He might give you another one, another chance to build your faith. And so divinity gives us chances, gives us experiences in our lives. All of you, your life, my life, we all have this kind of divine experiences where the door of faith opens. And we need that door to open because that faith is one energy, one power which transcends mind, which transcends logical senses, logical mind, the logical brain, the analytical mind, and all of that, which opens, which it's a shortcut, it's a path directly opens to divinity. We all have experienced, I'm sure, at some point in time or the other. And so these were these little moments he gave me to build that faith. And I clung to each one desperately because that is what we were there for in Puttaparthi, right? And I'm grateful he allowed me to do that. I'm grateful for my mind, my brain, or whatever, my samskaras, if you will, that allowed me to grasp each of these faith building blocks. And I started building them one at a time. And then this day came, April 4th, and he says, come. And so I go into the interview room. This was my first interview with Baba, one-on-one. And then in the room, he says, what do you want? I was so afraid that whatever I thought, my mind was completely blank because he's like 6 inches or maybe 1 foot, maybe where this palm is, I think. Because he's so close, he's talking to me straight and we are almost the same height. So it's like literally face to face. He's saying, what do you want? What do you want? Kya mangta hai? And I'm like, no, nothing. He says, no, tell me what you want. And then the first thing I said was, I want to be in your room. Well, there was another thing I said about my sister, but I don't want to go into that at this point because it'll take the whole night then. But really quick, I said, I want to be in your room. And Swami said, oh, my room? Why? Swami, I want to serve you. Oh, okay, tomorrow, come. It just clicked. It just happened like that. Just like that. The lesson I take home from that is when an opportunity comes, ask for the very best. Don't hesitate. And I'm glad I didn't hesitate. And I'm glad I was not thinking. The deepest desire in my heart just popped up. And there he was to grant it. Why wouldn't he? Because he's right there, right there physically. And you're just voicing a desire. It has to get fulfilled. Why wouldn't he do that? He said, yeah, okay, come from tomorrow. That tomorrow and the months that followed that was the greatest learning of my lifetime. That is why my pet lesson I tell everyone is Swami is a perfect role model, the perfect role model of everything we ever want to be. It is easy for us to categorize Swami as divine, incarnation, God, and all of that, right? It's easy because we have done that with others. We don't understand something, we say, oh, that's divine. Oh, he is God, he can do that. We just brush it off. The subconscious mind is saying, subconsciously, I think we are telling ourselves, oh, I don't understand that for now. That's what we say when generally, I guess, when we say, oh, he's God, he can do that. It's like, whatever, I don't know. So we push him further and further up in the altar, and then we frame him up, put garlands, wave aratis, and sing songs, and he's there, far away. We find that beautiful. But what I find more intriguing, what I find more beautiful, what I find more intense, more spiritual, and more real was his humanness. How he lived as a human being. What did he teach us as a human being? How is divinity in a human form? And that is why I say there is a glimpse of what the apostles could have experienced when they saw Jesus. Or when Paramahamsa Yogananda saw Yukteswar, Vivekananda saw in Sri Ramakrishna. When you live with a master, every master has his own idiosyncrasies, right? Ups and downs, some queerity, some uniqueness. Sai Baba had his own uniqueness. But that was the beauty of the whole thing. He was his own brand. He didn't follow anyone. He was his own. He celebrated his uniqueness. And to me, that was the number one lesson. So here is the first thing I learned from him, which I use him as a role model in my life, is number one, celebrate your uniqueness. There is no one else like you in this world. Now, this is not philosophy. You don't have to have faith in it, belief in it. It's DNA, simple fact, right? There is no other person like you in this world. With your background, with your upbringing, with your intelligence, with your talent, you are very unique with your looks, with your upbringing and all of that, culture and all of that. A very unique you, a very unique me exists in this universe. Just one of a kind, one of a kind. Now, rather than celebrating that uniqueness, if I lose my uniqueness and I want to be like that, I want to be like someone else, and I want to do what everyone else is doing, all the time trying to please someone or fit into somebody else's shoes or be what the society expects perhaps, and so on and so forth. I spend my entire life trying to be like somebody else, become like somebody else. Oh, he is rich, I want to be like him. Oh, he is talented, I want to be like him or like her, this and that. And we go on trying to be like somebody, completely forgetting that you were unique. You are meant to be a unique person, you and I. That is the secret of this creation. And that is why in our uniqueness, each one of us are divine in our nature. This is what Swami proved in that humanness. Think of this. While it's easy to say he is divine and avatar, let's put that aside for a moment. Think of a young village boy in a God-forsaken place, literally, which was not even in the map of India, Puttaparthi. No water to drink, completely barren, occasional floods that would destroy part of the village, and all the things that you don't want in your life. Everything is there, snakes and scorpions. The name of that village was scary, Puttaparthi, anthills. Can you believe? We talk of names and all of that. And in that God-forsaken place, there is one child. At the age of 13, the child has a dream. I want to spread love, peace, truth, righteousness. Satya Dharma Shanti Prema. He gives up school. He says, I want to do this. This is my mission. And from that day on, he began to celebrate his uniqueness. And when I was with Swami, who was now then 60, yes, 60, I saw that spirit, that same energy, that same spirit of that celebrating the uniqueness. When I'm among men, I'm a man. When I'm among women, I'm a woman. When I'm among children, I'm a child. Alone, I am God. Alone, I am God. He always went back to his uniqueness. Though he wore different hats, setting up institutions, talking to people, running ashrams, curing people, helping people, counseling people. But when he would retire into his room, he would go back into his divine space. Alone, I am God. When he was alone, he didn't say, oh, I'm tired of this. I need a break. Oh, I don't know how long I can do this. He went back to being God. And then he would come back again, completely refreshed, to again with complete energy drawn from that source. I have learned from him to celebrate the uniqueness, not complain about my heritage, but be proud of it. Not complain about my upbringing, but be proud of it. Not complain about my height or weight or looks, but be proud of whoever I am at this moment in my life. This jiva has adopted this form, this name, this experience, these people for a lesson to be learned. And therefore, once I accept who I am completely, wholeheartedly, unconditionally, then I begin to open my mind and learn lessons that are constantly coming to me. And the more I learn, the more my experience grows, my wisdom grows, and the jiva in me, the soul in me, begins to evolve and begins to taste the Paramatma, the divine essence, my source. I speak this from experience, my dear brothers and sisters. I am not just sharing some philosophy from a book. Once you begin to taste that divinity within you, it's life-changing. Life-changing. The second thing I learned from Swami is once you realize your uniqueness, once you realize you want to celebrate that uniqueness, be who you are, then you allow a vision to unfold. There's a difference between visions and goals. I don't think Swami ever taught us about goals, at least not to me. I don't remember that. But I would always remember Swami talking about a vision. What is your vision in life? Allow the vision to express itself. The vision will express itself once I begin to accept myself. A vision comes, what the self is capable of doing in this lifetime. And once that vision unfolds, then one pointed focus, go at it. And never compromise on who you are and what your belief systems are. Continuously keep learning, growing, but never compromise for the sake of somebody else or what others will think or what others will say. Never compromise. That is what I saw in Swami's personality. And to me, those are the most precious gifts I can take from, because I had nobody else to look up to there. Nobody else, not just in Puttaparthi, anybody else in the society. Everybody compromised. Oh, yeah, let's be practical and this and that. Swami was the only one seemingly impractical in all his actions. The way he started his university, completely illogical. Honestly, there is nobody in their right mind, if you will, in your mind and my mind, in that limited mind, will ever do or dare do what Swami did. Nobody would open a hospital and say it's 100% free, not just any ordinary hospital, a super specialty hospital whose standards are in par with the world. Nobody would open that and say it's completely free and announce it a year before even the foundation stone was laid. And it is there today as a monument of his will. So was that divinity? Yes, it is. But is that divinity so mysterious and so far off? I don't think so. That's what he wants you and me to believe, that in your heart, in your soul, in your very core lies that divine energy. So why do you give room for fear? Why do you give room for doubt? Believe in yourself first. And that brings self-confidence. Self-confidence is the foundation. Confidence in your supreme self. That within me is something that can never die, something that is eternal, something that is one with creation. There is no separation there. So when I feel this separation with Swami, when I miss him physically, I go deep within me, and in that depth, there is so much joy in that union with the divine within. Everything explodes into that perfect union with the divine. There's only love in that space. Only love, only oneness. There is nothing to ask, nothing to lose, nothing to be afraid of. There is no death, there is no birth. Only love. That is the gift Swami wants to give us. He gave us. It's within us, in each of us, in each of our Sai devotees, we have that gift of that immense love to give and to receive. To give and to receive that love, to live a life which is completely fearless, to live a life where no illnesses and no untoward things and no fear of death and no fear of all of that. No place for fear. No place for fear. But the moment we break away from divinity, we put him up there and saying, Swami, why are you doing this to me? What is happening in this world? And we separate ourselves from him. We develop this victim mindset. And then we are opening our doors, not to Swami, but to all the other little things that come and envelop us. Fear, doubt, disbelief, confusion, and all of that. And we lose that centerpiece inside of us. We lose that home, that little space that we create for God. We lose that space. That space gets clouded. It's like a little room. Your puja room is clouded with furniture now because you moved things around in your house and now there's no place to even sit and meditate because there's too many things in that puja room. So what do? You clear the clutter and then you sit in peace. I saw one pointed focus in Swami. I saw an ability to stay uncompromised in what you have set out to do, uncompromised in who you are. Professor Narasimhan, and I probably shared this many times, but these are the only stories I know. These are the stories I constantly relive in my head, and these are the only stories I can share. Professor Narasimhan, then the Hindu editor, mentioned to Swami, this was in the early 80s, mid 80s, one of those days when I was in his room. Doing some work, I was privy to this conversation. He says, Swami, I'm the editor of the leading newspaper. If you give me permission, I will publish every day a section on the newspaper about you, about your teachings. You give me what to write and I will put it there. Let people know who you are. They think you're just a magician and there's a lot of this thing about you. I want the newspapers to rectify that. And Swami just smiled. And almost beautifully, instantly, of course, and very beautifully, Swami said, hey, listen, have you seen Sai Gita come down during festivals from the Gokulam? Because those days, Sai Gita was far away. The elephant, Swami's elephant. Have you seen her come to the festivals? This person was taken aback, and so was I, but I was doing some work, so I was pretending I wasn't listening, but I was listening. And so he said, Swami, what? Elephant, have you seen her coming? Yes, Swami. When she comes, a lot of street dogs bark at the elephant. Does Sai Gita stop to each street dog and say, hey, you know who I am? I am the elephant. I can crush you in an instant. Stop barking. Don't waste your energy. This and that. Does she stop at every dog and she tells them not to bark? No. The dogs barking don't even affect her because she knows who she is. She is the elephant. The dogs are barking because it is their nature to bark, because that is the only thing they know. They have their little territories. They want to protect their territories. And therefore, something huge like this comes, they are out of fear, confusion, they start barking. So when the logical mind sets its territory of what is truth, what is not untruth, this is what I believe, and you live in this cage. When divinity comes by, you're like, no, I don't want to believe. This is fake. This is too much. I can't bear it. Or we turn around and say, he is God, he is God, he is God. But we go back into our territory because we have built this little cage of reality that we call reality. Swami said, Sai Gita will never stop to tell anything to the street dogs, and therefore, nor will I. Let people who have to tell what they have to tell. Papam, he said, poor things. What do they know? That is their karma. Let them tell. I will do my work. You don't have to do anything. One hand goes up, it is blessing. Two hands goes up, it is a clap. This creates noise. This gives blessing. Let one hand be up. We don't want two hands to clap. The idea being that you don't go tit for tat and all of that. Just do your work. Do what you have to do. Be uncompromised. And The world will come around. They will come around. That is why there's one young boy in the village with no social networking, with no social status, with no monetary help, with no political help, with nothing, not with any degrees. Every single thing, my dear youngsters, that if you are listening to this, everything that you think is required for success in life, look at Baba. He had none of that. And yet he influenced more than 150 million people in one lifetime directly from his physical body. How? So there is an energy you and I can tap into by celebrating our uniqueness, by being focused, by being uncompromised. Develop your core values. And he has given us those core values, not as doctrines, as dogmas to be struck to as religions. These core values are for you and me to explore, exploit, examine, re-examine, redefine, and grow in that. Satya, truth. What is truth? Ask yourself. What is righteousness? Ask yourself. And develop your lifestyle around these values. Satya, Dharma, Shanti. What is peace? What is love? What is non-violence? And therefore, with these values, when you uncompromisingly live your life, constantly re-examining these values, constantly growing with these core values as your firm foundation, as your anchor in divinity, then my God, you are in touch with the divine, and the divine will open doors like no other. And your life will be one road full of joy, peace, and happiness. Will there be storms? Yes, but they will not affect you because you will sit behind glass doors and watch the storm go by. Will there be snow? Yes, there will be snow, but you will have a beautiful glowing fire that will keep you warm. That fire of divinity within. The house of Sai that will build around you. This is what we need. This is what we need in these moments, in this time when there is all of this fear that is grabbing us. Is the universe giving you and I an opportunity to slow down. We were going perhaps too fast, too robotic, too zombie-like lifestyle. Just get up and sleep on the same side of the bed, have the same coffee, run and get into the same car, the same schedule, the same traffic, the same noise, come back and watch the same TV shows. Life just went on and would have gone on. But sometimes the universe comes and gives you a blessing in disguise. Moments to slow down. This is perhaps one such moment. I don't know. This is perhaps a moment which you and I can turn it into an opportunity. A difficulty into an opportunity. A challenge into a divine opportunity, where we can take time to explore ourselves as individuals, our relationships with our near and dear ones, explore our family together, get more family time. This is a blessed time. Enjoy this. Be grateful. And with that gratitude, open your hearts to the divine. Allow Swami to guide you. There are many, many, many lessons that I have learned from Swami. I don't know how we are doing on time. So I will just perhaps finish in another 3 or 4 minutes. Uncompromising focus in his mission. He never faltered even one bit. He always celebrated his uniqueness. Never once was he afraid to project who he was. He knew one language. He met people from all languages, all parts of the world with no fear. He was a school dropout, yet he met with scientists and great educationists. He started a university. Think of that. He started a medical university, a medical college. I'm sorry, a medical hospital, a medical institution, an academic institution. He was the one who set world standard today in how bhajans should be sung. These youngsters who sang bhajans, how beautiful it was. Who set the standard? He set the standard. Before that, there was also bhajan singing, but not the standard. Now everybody looks up to the Sai Baba bhajans as standard as to how to sing bhajans, how to sing Namasmarana. He set the standard. How could one person do all of this? Because he stood he knew, this is what I want to do, this is what I will do. Great leaders are made from that metal. And he tells us constantly, I am God, you are God too. He doesn't tell you to be confident and brave. He says, go right into the truth of the matter. Know that you are God. Realize that divinity. And let that divinity guide you. Let your divinity guide you. And it doesn't matter how tall you are, how short you are, how poor you are, how rich you are, where you are in your life. Nothing matters, because look at Sai. With nothing, he created everything. Today, there is a railway station in Puttaparthi, a village that was not even in the map of India. A railway station in Puttaparthi, an airport in Puttaparthi, huge bus stands in Puttaparthi, highways in Puttaparthi, universities in Puttaparthi, super specialty hospitals in Puttaparthi. People from all over the world come there to seek solace. And in all of that, the last quality I want you to leave you with, there are many such qualities, but given the time constraint, I want to leave you with some that you can focus on, right? Celebrate your uniqueness, number one. Number two, stay uncompromised in who you are, what your core belief systems are. And the third one was humility. Humility. With all these achievements, with all this grand vision that he was going, he was so humble, so simple. He would come to us and say, have you had your food? Why is your shirt like this? Have your parents come? What is your name? Where are you from? What is the drama you're going to put? I want to come and see your practices. Why? Where does that humility come from? Did he impose it upon himself? No, it is a natural outcome. When you truly know who you are, you don't have to portray that to everybody. That will reflect automatically. Humility becomes a natural virtue. Anoraniyan mahato mahiyan. In the tiniest of the tiny acts, divinity will reflect. In the greatest of his acts, divinity will reflect. This is a sign of a truly divine person. If a person is giving you big talks on spirituality and who and all of that, observe the little things that he does. The little things that a person does has also to reflect that very same divinity that this person talks about here. And in Swami, I saw that in the very little acts in his own room, in the privacy of his room, within the four walls, when he was alone. When I say he is God, it's not like he sat like this most of the time. He did that too, but every act of it, every envelope that he would put on the side, or he would, the way he would place his toothbrush in his bathroom, the way he would hang his towel, every little act of his was almost like a cosmic event for him, done with reverence, done with mindfulness. So when you get up from your bed and just throw your sheets and jump off the bed and say, I'm going to change the world, first stop right there, turn around and put your sheet back gently. Because if you cannot do that little act, you cannot change the world. You may get rich, you may get famous for a little bit, but beyond that, Swami was not just rich and famous. Swami, when I say Swami influenced 100 million people, 100 million lifestyles, it's influencing is not just, he didn't get fans. These were devotees. Somebody would dream of Swami telling him to leave his job. He would actually leave his job and go to Puttaparthi. The dream of Swami meant so much. That was the deep influence. He touched into went into the spirit of people. That is why he was known as a spiritual guru. He's known as a spiritual guru. That's why today, thousands of miles away, years after his physical demise, you and I are still feeling his presence in our hearts. I do. Maya does. We do in our homes. We offer a satsang every night, online satsang at 8:45. We feel his presence right there. And we enjoy it. We just enjoy bathing now in the spirit of the spiritual energy that Sai is. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor. It doesn't matter where life goes. Just enjoy being with him. And that joy is so divine, so divine, so divine. Nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. Then you only step out to give. You want to bless, you want to give, you want to share, you want to give because you feel there is so much to give, so much to share, so much of love in this universe to share. You never even stop to think, what am I getting out of it? There is no I left. So this is Sai Baba. This is a divine guru that you and I are right now contemplating on. This is the name Sai that we invoke in our homes. This is the energy that you invoke with every time you utter, he is right there. You invoke that energy. Be mindful. Use that name sparingly so that you're mindful of the value of that word. Use that form sparingly so that every time you see that form, you're reminded of the divinity. I have only one picture of Swami in my house. So when I see that form, I always know that there is. Simply because I feel I want to revere that name and form. Use it very sparingly. Because when I use it, I want to feel that energy, that joy, that love, that special divine relationship that I had with him. I'll never get that. Never, ever, in this lifetime. So I want to treasure that as much. So treasure these moments, treasure this divine side energy inside of you. Awaken that divine energy and let that energy guide you. It will protect you. You don't even have to ask for protection. This virus thing is, we are in it for a long haul, I think. It will take a while for things, if it ever gets back to normal. Let that not bother you. Let's step up into a whole new lifestyle. Let's look at what kind of a life is going to unfold to us now, and look at it bravely. Change is never welcome, but don't resist change. Open yourself to change and say, okay, if this is what the new way to live is, fine. But the real me is untouched by all of this, because I am going to be with Sai, and let Sai actually guide. Let Sai actually orchestrate my life. And when he does that, everything falls into place perfectly. My dear sisters, brothers, I love talking about Swami. I can never stop when I start. But I have to be mindful of your time. Once again, I want to thank you for this divine opportunity to be able to share these thoughts with you all. And I hope I made sense sharing how I perceive Swami as a role model, Maya and I, and we take him as a role model in every day of our lives, in every act of our lives. We try our best so that every night when I go to sleep, in my heart, I can say this prayer peacefully. As I drift into sleep, I am an instrument of thy peace. Where there is hatred, I sow love. Where there is doubt, I sow faith. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is despair, hope. Every moment, I seek out to console rather than console. I seek to give rather than take. I seek to love rather than be loved. For it is in giving that I truly receive. It is in pardoning that I am pardoned. It is in dying that I am born to eternal life. Thank you. Sai Ram.